on another episode of the Convo Guy. Edwin, it's a pleasure having you.
Man, it's nice
Man,
to see you again, man.
man, we went to elementary school together, we went to middle school. I was not there throughout our high school experience because I
Hmm.
transferred to another school. But I know I is it how long has it been since we last seen each other?
When was our freshman year? I was like 2009, 2010, right?
Two, yeah, around there.
Yeah. So around there, shoot, almost 15 years now, right?
Mm,
From 2010 to
mm.
now, 15 years.
Like as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, man, you gotta cherish your childhood friends, like those longtime friends. Like even if y'all don't hit up each other on a daily, still just hit
Oh
like
yeah.
reach out to them, just see how they're going, because the memories that you're gonna have with those people are gonna be endless. So, man, you mind telling me how the experience was at Clarkston High School after I left?
I mean, you kind of get the sense, right? You kind of went to the Indian Creek in Freedom. Like it was just like that. Same guy, same people. I mean, it was fun. I'll tell you that right now. Like it was something you just had to be there. I know you would have enjoyed it. I mean, me, Prince, everybody that we grew up with, that was
Mhm.
like the best part. Like, most of us grew up together from Indian Creek to middle school at Freedom to high school at Clarkston. So it was kind of like you grew up with your childhood friends and y'all graduated. I think that's one part probably like you probably would have liked, when you moved out,
Mhm.
you probably met more people when you graduated and went to Central. But I feel like it's like that, like nostalgia of like your childhood friends and like
Mhm.
remembering stuff
Mhm.
from like fifth grade,
Mhm.
and you're already like a senior and you're like, man, we're graduating.
Mhm. Because I remember, you remember Aziz Todi?
Yes, I do.
I remember fifth grade, the last day of fifth grade. This was in Miss Lot class.
Mhm.
He seen me steal my Game Boy back from the teacher's closet, and then it's just like, yeah, because she had took it like midway through the semester, so it was just like my parents were gonna go to the school and get that Game Boy.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, I gotta get my game device for me to have an epic summer.
Yeah.
So it's just like he sees me finesse my Game Boy, and it's just like, yo, we became friends ever since. It's just like, yo, that was just like undercover like memory we had between me and him. But man, like as I'm getting older, I'm 28 years old now, well 29. I apologize, but I'm realizing that like those childhood friends that made your childhood epic, you gotta hold on to them as you're getting older.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely got a lot of like childhood friends that I really don't talk to that much, but I keep contact here and then, on social media. Mainly,
Mm-hmm.
it's helped a lot, try to stay connected to people. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I might not talk to you a lot, but I still got that love for you. I
Mm-hmm.
still got memories and everything, and like obviously, everybody gets older and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has to start dealing with their own life. Everybody, has to start moving on and separating and starting their own life because that's how the world is.
Edwin, what is your ethnicity?
So I'm Mexican and fully Mexican on both sides of my parents. I'm born in Mexico, came here at the age of 5, but I guess you can say Mexican American because I mean at this point I'm more American than Mexican, but you get the vibe. I still rep my all my brothers and sisters down there.
Okay. So what is one thing like you're fully Mexican. So what's the difference between someone like you versus like the Mexican Americans, the one that are just born here but then have like Mexican parents?
Like they don't have or they have
They
Mexican
have
parents.
Mexican parents. Like what's
Uh,
the difference that you've noticed?
I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's that much, and it's not like I came at an older age, like other people. Like I have people that maybe they lived in Mexico most of their adolescence, and they came here maybe at the age of 16 or 17, and they come here. It's like a big difference. Like for me, like I said, I was 5, so I still basically grew up like an American would. I would say like main like a difference is like a lot of people who aren't from Mexico really appreciate how good they have it here. It's real struggle, I guess. A lot of obviously if you're an immigrant. Your parents are immigrant parents. You can relate to like why people move over here, why people struggle. And obviously when you come here, you live a completely different life from other people from, that don't have that many opportunities as you would.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing I see. But other than that, like not much to be honest. I mean, if you have both parents, and obviously you're gonna grow up with their heritage because your parents, that culture surrounds you at your house, so you're still gonna have that in you. And I see that a lot with a lot of people, especially with all like, all the current affairs that are going on right now with the current president and the administration. You see what you're seeing right now. But I see a lot of my cousins, they're first generation born here, and like, they're going out there, they're still representing, doing all the protests and all that. So that, that's good to see on their side because they're citizens, but they still got that like love for their nationality.
Tell me about the Mexican culture.
I mean, what you want me to say? I mean, you see it everywhere. I think at this point, like, we're up.
Okay, like tell me like for instance, I hear that like in the Mexican culture, like you have to be an adult. You have to learn how to be an adult real quick. So it's just like,
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, being the firstborn, like, like your parents don't really know much English. So that you're kind of like the third parent in the family, like
mm,
translating, reading, trying to, get back with, what they're saying and what they want. So it's a big difference. You kind of grow up a little faster
mm,
in that sense. But I mean, we're just like, I would say when it comes to the like just Mexicans, our culture, I think is just like family orientated. We like to stay together. We help each other out. In times of need, we're always dependent on our family to, get us at a rough time. I
and
think
that's
that's
what
a.
I that's oh, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
I
that's
get.
what I appreciate about the Mexican
Mhm.
culture. It's just like you guys are very like family orientated. It's just like, and even in the Bible, it's like, God keeps families together.
Mhm.
Like he's not for like family separation.
Yeah.
Like even like when God kicked out Adam and Eve out the garden, he
Mhm.
kicked both of them out. It's not even like, because they were a family in
Yeah.
a way.
That's
So
a
it's just,
good. That's a good point.
yeah,
You're
it's
right.
just like I'm gonna punish y'all, but I'm gonna punish y'all as a unit
Yeah.
rather than like separating husband and wife. So
Gotcha.
what are some cons about your culture?
Some cons. I guess the whole you being here, like being targeted. You see that sometimes when like you get profiled, and they might think you're not illegal, and obviously it's just like, come on, man, like I'm literally born here. I think that's like the biggest thing in our culture. But I mean, from my point of view, I don't see any cons.
Okay,
We're like the most hardworking people in the world. Like, well,
I
like
agree because
I ain't got nothing to be ashamed of.
I remember when we moved out, um, rather than my dad getting like he didn't, like funds were tight at the moment.
Mhm.
So we didn't have funds to get a U-Haul truck and all that.
Mhm.
So he went and found some Mexicans, I believe,
Mhm.
and they helped. That's the first time. I think I was like 9 years old.
Mhm.
And I'm just seeing like, wow, like who are these people? Like, yeah, so I'm just seeing them. They got the work done in a couple hours. And at the time I thought they were like superhuman. Cause it's just like, yeah, like man, I never asked them like that, like who are these people? It's just I got
Yeah.
older and realized, oh, like these were the people that helped us that one day. Other than Spanish, what are some other languages spoken in Mexico?
I mean, I know like there's a lot of people that have like native roots and like native origins, like I guess you can say like the Aztecs descent, and like there's real like a deep native culture around there. So I know they speak like their own dialect. I'm not too formally known, I just Spanish would be the only one I would know, but
Okay.
there is like that other side of like the natives that they speak their own native tongue, from years ago, and they keep on, through tradition and through, passing it on.
What's the difference? Is there can you pick up a difference between like Mexican Spanish versus like Spanish from like Colombia versus Spanish?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, everyone from Mexico down south to Argentina, all South and Central America, we all speak Spanish,
Mhm.
but each one has their own accent, their own
Okay.
dialect.
Mm.
Certain words don't mean the same thing to each culture. Like, I can call a hamburger in Spanish, in Mexican Spanish, hamburguesa, but you can ask anyone from South America and they'll give you like 5 or 10 different responses because it's just everything is a little different in each country.
What's the Spanish accent that you just have that you have trouble understanding?
Maybe like more in this, if you go like more towards like Argentinians, I guess you can put Spain in there because they speak Spanish too, and their Spanish is kind of like more like their dialect. It's a little more harder to understand.
Okay.
Like their lips, all their word. It's kind of like Americans speak English, but if you go to England, their English, but their English is a little different.
Yes.
They got that accent.
Hmm.
Certain words might mean different things, so something like that.
Describe a famous quote from Mexico.
From Mexico, a famous quote. Yeah, Viva la raza. That's a good one. Everybody always says that la raza. La raza is like like a quote people say, it's like a word. Raza just means the race, like, our race.
Are there things that you used to love then that you like now? Because as we get older, there's things that we love that when we get older, that love doesn't die out, but it just molds into a different aspect. So there are things that you were really passionate then that you just like now.
That I'm still passionate now about.
Yeah, like you
Uh,
don't love it as much, but you just you somewhat have love for it, but just not entirely.
that's a good question, man. My personality, like I tend to like attach myself to something, and then like I put time and effort into it, and then after a while I get bored,
Hmm.
and then I move on to something else. So that's my personality. Like, but
Like,
like a passion that I've always had
mhm.
that I still got now, and I wish part of me is like I want to keep pursuing that. It's like filmmaking. Like
Mm,
I love movies. I'm a filmaholic.
okay.
Like that's something. If I would have went to college, I would have been like I want to get into film, like film school.
That's dope.
That would have been. That's still something that I still kind of have in the back.
Hmm.
Like obviously I'm not pursuing that, or I don't have the chance. I don't have the opportunity, but it's like a hobby per se. Like like I can just sit down and watch an entire movie or something, and I can just be like, man, that was like a cinematic masterpiece.
So you having a passion for films, what do you like about films? Do you like the acting role? Do you like the director role?
Definitely like the actor. Like I when I like watch a movie, obviously like everybody wants to be the actor, everyone wants to be the front man. Like I always think like the director, man, like somebody had to write the script, somebody had to put the vision. You ever watch a movie and you just say to yourself, man, that scene was real good, like the lighting, the music, like that's like some like next level, like
Hmm.
some real genius right there. You watch a Steven Spielberg movie and like a Quentin Tarantino movie, you see the difference in their style,
Hmm.
like how one director directs one thing and like the other one.
Hmm.
That's the thing that like really intrigues me. Like you can bring your own style, your own vision into the film.
Are there any, name your top three films?
Top three films, I probably have to say like The Dark Knight. That one's like goated in my opinion. I like this old. It's like a '90s movie. It's called Schindler's List. I would say I'll put that on there. I probably put like Interstellar. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan.
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. What are some things that you feel like you cannot live without?
definitely. I want to say like music and family. Definitely.
What are some places that you go to that bring you peace?
I'm a real outdoors guy, so like whenever like I just like need a time for myself, I like going on walks. I like going on runs. Kind of like I guess in a way, it helps me run away from my problems. I guess in a way, go for a run. I like to go out, out to nature and stuff. I recently 2 years ago I went to Washington. I went to Mount Rainier. It was, incredible. You just see nothing but mountains, just the mountain view and just like climbing and like you get a different feel, like, just looking at the world, you see, the vastness of like, the world and, everything that's in it. You really get a good appreciation for like, life itself.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to Washington State too,
Hmm.
and on the way there, I passed through a bunch of states, but a state that just stood out to me more than the other states was Montana. Like that
Okay.
state is one of the most beautiful states.
You been there? Yeah, yeah. I haven't gone
Yeah,
there.
I went to Montana, like on the way to Washington State, but Washington State's a very beautiful state.
Yes, most definitely.
But Edwin, thank you for this introduction.
No worries.